Hello there, YouTubers, internet people. Friction RC here again. Thought I'll do something different this time. So I am now the proud owner of many different vehicles. You've seen some of my videos online of my Slash, and I thought I've recently bought a while back bought I think it's a FTX Crusher or something like that, like a truggy type job. But I've got loads of others, so I thought I'll do a little vid of my different collection. Not all of these I bought brand new. In fact, a lot of them I bought second hand, so I got them quite cheap in comparison to, say, buying a brand new kit. But the first one is this. This is a Tyco Turbo Jet Hopper. As you can see, it is an original, and this was my first proper RC remote control car. So with full steering function, left, right, backwards, forwards, and when you, a bit like kick down on some automatic cars, when you slam it all the way down, when you push the control all the way, you get that kind of burst in speed. So this is my original. I've had this 30 years. Yeah, about 30 years. I got it when I was about 10 or 11, I think it was. I remember the last time I used it, the gears were cogging a bit. It was losing reception. So I've been speaking to people online to see what they think, and the suggestion is whether I should keep it stock or put a brushless motor in, upgrade it all. Part of me wants to do it that way, because this little thing with a brushless motor in it is going to fly. It's going to literally fly, and to see this thing tearing around would be amazing. But then part of me thinks keep it stock. Not only for the value of it, but also, I mean, that's, I don't know, I guess I'm still in 50-50, but the thing with keeping it stock is to find the parts that'll work, and I'm not an electrician, and the motherboard and this thing or whatever's needed is just beyond me. So anyway, I managed to find this recently. My parents, when they were having a clear out, gave that, and I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. And that kind of was around the time I started getting back into RC. So I'll put that across to one side, but there you go. It's a Mark. I don't know if it's a Mark 1 or Mark 2, because I know there were slight differences between them. But this is a single owner vehicle, 30 odd years. And you can see the suspension. So the next one on this is going to be the drift car. So this was it. Actually, let me start again. Let me move that back and show you this instead. So this was what was left of the original FTX Banzai S15 drift body shell. And as you can see, I've hacked it to death. Originally I wanted to do a roof chop. Did all that didn't work, so I thought I'll cut the and then try and cut the doors out and try and put it together. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that on the inside, I've tried to put like glue, toothpicks or anything like that, anything that was strong that I could use lengthways, because I don't have proper hobby grade stuff at the moment. And it never works. And as you can also see, I have no experience in painting bodies, so I thought I'll give it a shout on this, on the outside. This was like my test bed, and as you can see, I've hacked it to pieces. It looks absolutely pants, but I had a lot of learning experiences doing it. The first thing is, don't try and attempt a roof chop. So using the same chassis, I went and got a Porsche Carrera GT body shell, and the reason for getting it is, one thing, as I've always liked the shape of it. I like that kind of smooth, kind of aerodynamic-y type look. Having said that, I like the Gumpert Apollo as well. I love that angular look, but I just thought something grabbed me when I saw it in a drift RC sort of thing. I thought brilliant. And yeah, I cut it out. My reason for getting this body shell was so that I could have a play about with. Let me just take it off. That's the actual car itself. As you can see, it's still got everything original that came on. The only thing I tried messing about with was the lowering the shocks and trying to adjust the camber, and it's not like a proper Sakura or one of those expensive, you know, kit things that you build up from the ground up. This is kind of a ready to race two-wheel. It was a four-wheel drive, but I removed, there was an axle going across, I removed that, so it's a rear-wheel drive thing only now. It's quite a simple thing to do. You just unscrew this stuff out to get the battery thing off, and then you just take out that pole and it disconnects that, so you've only got forward steering and rear-wheel drive. It's noisy because it's metal gears. It's not something I'm used to. Even my Slash doesn't make this much noise, and being plastic tyres, it really, I run it outside. I don't have like indoor tracks and stuff. I run it on flat concrete surfaces in car parks, and it really is noisy, but it slides. So yeah, I might mess about with this in terms of putting a brushless motor and doing all this, because I've got plenty of them lying around, but we'll see. For me, mainly, it was to do the body shell. It's my first ever time of actually cutting a body shell out, spraying the insides, and as you can see, it's not come out brilliantly. If you look closely, you can actually see it a mile off. In some parts it's quite thin, in other parts there's lines and drips to it. I've got a light bucket for it, although I don't have light, so I might do that in the future, purely as a learning exercise. And you can see it's got marks on the windscreen, and that's because I ran it outside on a wet day. There was puddles and stuff, and a little bit of water sprayed up on the inside. So to avoid making it too obvious, I plastered the thing in decals. I think these decals are more for motorbike sort of stuff than RC cars, because I recognise these things from my love of motorbikes. So, but not all of them. Brembo, NOS, etc. NOS. But anyway, I thought I'll splatter the whole thing with it to try and hide it, try and hide some of the mistakes. Now at a distance it looks pretty cool. It's only when you get close up and you see it, you think, bloody hell, what has this Joker done? But hey, it's my first time proper painting and doing it, and I'd like to think I've learned from it. So yeah, let me just pause this for a sec, and I'll just put the body back and get onto the next load of cars. So here's my next toy. Now the other one you saw was my kind of, what's the word, that was my test bed. I bought this because it was so cheap secondhand. It was cheaper than my other drift car, which was that thing. I haven't done anything to this. It runs so smooth. If I take the body clips off, it's so well maintained. I think the guy who owned it before he gave it to me and sent it, he did a proper clean-up job. All the dust you see on it now is just because it's been laying around on my where I keep these things, but it is so clean and it's brilliant. I still can't believe I got it as cheap as I did. This is a Maverick Strada. I don't know. Again, it's the same sort of thing. It's a ready to race. So you can see the four-wheel drive system. I might leave this as it is because I might give this to someone. I've got someone in mind, but we'll see. And again, I'm pretty certain the person I'm going to give it to doesn't have tracks nearby. We'll be running it inside the house, or maybe take it out every now and again. The other reason for getting this is because I have another body kit that I'm waiting to get started on. It is a, what is it? It's not a large, oh yeah, no, it is a, it's an Italian brand, Alfa Romeo. I think it's one of those DTM British touring car type body shells. So getting my eye in on this car and learning to cut it down to size means that when I get the new one, which I've already got, once I've got a bit of time, I can cut it down to size and mount it on this, and I'll have a Alfa Romeo style drift RC as well. Now we get onto this little beauty. For those of you that recognise this, this is a Tamiya Mini. The chassis number is, I think, M03. I've always wanted a Tamiya. Never had the chance to own one because even growing up these were so expensive and my parents were like, no, you know. And the thing is, they didn't really know much about remote control cars at the time. I ended up getting this, and to be fair, I'm not complaining because this was in my eyes an amazing. I got a remote control car. It did everything. It had a turbo function, it had suspension. It was amazing. But getting a Tamiya 30 odd years later is just the crowning moment for me, even if it is second hand. And as you can see, the body's been well looked after. The dust again is my fault. This is all how it came. Don't worry about the dirt, that was me running it a bit. Again, it was very much cleaned up. The guy who I bought it off said he'll set it up for me, and he did a bit of fine tuning with the steering. It's a rear wheel drive, it's a front wheel drive car, which is true representation of how it is in real life. Obviously the minis are front wheel drives, even the original ones. Bit of a problem with the body posts at the front, mainly because they go here, like their clips here, they go here, but the screws that attach them, as it were, that go in, don't thread in properly. They kind of keep falling out, so I'll have to either get a slightly bigger screw to try and do it. I don't want to glue it, because obviously at any point if I decide to sell it or do anything with it, I won't be able to get it out. So I'd rather get a slightly minusculely bigger screw with a slightly bigger thread and just tie it in. This is wicked. I've used this in stores so far. I don't think I'll run this outside unless it's going to be like on a wooden surface, and it is the dog's dangly bits. I love everything about this car. I'm so glad I got it. Again, didn't pay full price for it. It was second hand. Got a sweet deal. Got it delivered. It was well wrapped up. Everything came in. There was nothing missing on the box. Got the charger, got the instructions, got everything. So it is pretty much an original Tamiya Mini, and I know these things can be valuable to people who like that sort of stuff. What I might do is, I love Beetles, so at some point I might get a Volkswagen Beetle version of it. I've always wanted the Monster Beetle, but I've seen some other ones, so I might get one of those instead. Now, carrying along with my love of Tamiya, you might recognise this little chassis. I have it on good authority from the person who sold it, as well as a couple of Facebook groups, that this is a Tamiya Konghead. It's a 6-wheel drive vehicle. It's got front and rear axle steering. This was sold to me, again second hand, as an unfinished RC project, custom built. I think this, from what I've been told, is just from another toy or whatever it is, some German brand I've never heard of, and he was trying to do something with it. I'm guessing he's trying to do some sort of Dakar build or whatever, but he just never got round to it, and I guess needed a bit of extra cash, or thought, right, get rid of it. It's just sitting there gathering dust. For me, this is going to be a first, because I've always wanted to do my own custom build. It's got an HPI 35 turn motor. It's got an HPI ESC in it. There we go. If I do that, and it's got two steering things. There we go. If I do it that way, it's better. I've got HPI and a Traxxas. So for me, the thing is to, number one, get this going. Now I know it sort of works because I've put a LiPo battery inside it, and it powers up. It makes a noise and the light comes on. But obviously, I need to fit a controller. So that means an ESC of some description, or whatever you call those things, yeah, an ESC or whatever it is. No, a receiver. Need to fix it up to a receiver. I have one. I've tried it, but I need to figure out the receiver, because it's one of those fancy ones. It's not like a bog standard sort of Traxxas type, you know, pistol grip version. So that is that, and that might be a long-term project, because I'm partly debating whether I should sell it or keep it. I'd like to keep it and do it, because then I get experience of fixing these things. I'm useless at electronics, and there's enough information on the internet, but we shall see. Now let me just put these little beauties aside, because there's some more to my collection.